the one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game.
You're tripping.
How you high? No,
It is
high
Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in that front office, man. Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her.
What the fuck?
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches. What is going on, folks? Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet. This is After Further Review, episode 237. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I am your co-host, Malin Dennis.
I'm the other co-host, Junebug Spade.
I am your last co-host, living up here in the PNW, G-Money.
Gentlemen, another Wednesday. We're all here together. We want to welcome back June from his trip across the pond. How was your UK trip?
It was good, man. You know, when you touch down in London, and the first thing you do, man, you run, you get you a nice little English breakfast, you know, because you're landing at 6 a.m. most of the time. You're going to get you a nice little English breakfast, and then you just start walking London, man, and hopping in all the pubs, talking to the locals. You know, it was so nice because they found out I was American, of course, and they felt so bad for me. They started giving me shots free.
Nice.
Pity
You didn't have to pay no tariff on those?
No, I didn't. If you ever get a chance, go to London. You'll never. It's an experience that you should always go to. It's one of those cities that you have to go to.
I've never been, but I would love to. With that being said, let's all start off the show how we usually do, with a nice cheers.
Pacers just crushed Donovan Mitchell. Crazy.
They did.
Oh, good.
That was... Yeah, he got folded over.
Mhm.
I don't think I can finish that story, but he got folded over in a way that...
All right. In case you don't notice, we are down one person today. Nestor is I think he's in Puerto Rico still. So,
Hey, buddy.
I don't know why he does that to himself.
he has a history, certain kind of history. So,
I'm going to end up fucking married again.
we'll,
You know, it's a taste around the world.
we will hopefully see him back here next week. So, for all the Nestor fans out there, you'll just have to go a week without your boys. So, all right. Let's get into this week's show. We're going to start off with the playoffs, round 2, kicked off pretty much yesterday. We've got the Celtics and the Knicks. We've got the Cavs and the Pacers, who are actually playing right now. We've got the Nuggets and the Thunder, and the Warriors and the T-Wolves, which I believe starts tonight after this game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So far, all of the lower seeds have won game 1. All upsets, all around. So I want to get your guys' opinion on what you think the trajectory of the series is going to be. We'll start off with the Boston and New York series. Malin, I want to start with you, my fellow Celtics fan. Go ahead, calm us all down.
I mean, okay. I don't think anyone thought that we would sweep the Knicks. I was talking to G-Money about this last night when we were talking. Like, no one thought that you were going to sweep them, right? But you still don't like to lose game 1. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You allow a tired Knicks team to gain a little bit more confidence. Let's let's talk about why we really lost the game. We lost the game because we missed 45 3-pointers. An NBA record in the playoffs. We're probably not missing, and we missed 45 3-pointers, and it was still overtime. You're talking about two streaky teams with the Knicks and the Celtics. They go on big runs, and they both seem to get hot and cold sometimes. Like there was one point in the third quarter where the announcer, right before the Knicks started making their comeback, the announcers had said the Knicks had missed 16 of their last 21 shots. Well, if that was the Celtics missing 16 of their last 21 in the third quarter, but then going on the streak like the Knicks did in the fourth quarter, then it would have been the Celtics winning that game. I'm looking at Brown right now and kind of wondering where he's at. Is there an issue? I don't know if it's the knee or a hip he was dealing with. He seems a little bit slower. Tatum is playing well right now, but Tatum's not as clutch as Brown. So I need Brown in those moments in the fourth quarter to hit those shots. But I mean, 45 missed threes. That's a lot of threes. If you just get like 5 of those to go in, you win the game comfortably, So I'm not some of those that are out there, oh, we're going to lose. We're not losing to the Knicks in this series. The only thing that concerns me is, can we have another slip up? It causes us to play more games than we really need to be playing right now because we're going to be having to play Cleveland. And I want us to be as well rested as possible. That could be happening. Also, you had the Porzingis illness. That he only played like 13 minutes. He had to come out, so we didn't have that big body up there. So, like, overall, like, whenever you're up 20 with 7:58 in the third, you should win the game.
Yeah.
Like, and it didn't happen, so you're pissed about it. But it's not time to start setting off, like, alarms or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'll go real quick here. I don't think it's any real reason to panic or anything like that. We should not miss that many threes ever again. However, it is part of kind of maybe a bigger issue where we're live and die by the three, and it gets to a point where it's like, I wish it is not like we're just a team of 3-point snipers, and I wish Joe Mazzulla, when he sees, we've missed the last 15 straight. Hey guys, maybe we, Tatum, Brown, maybe try beating some folks off the dribble and get to the basket. Let's get to the free throw line, because those guys can go get their own bucket. Al Horford, he can get down in the paint and get to the free throw line. Derek White, he's no slouch. He can get to the basket on his own. So it's not like we're just snipers and we need to just sit out on the 3-point line. So when the shot's not falling, when it is rare, I get that. But in those occurrences, it would be nice to see the coaching shift towards, let's try a different style of play here.
The one thing I will say to that, in the second half, I wasn't seeing a lot of lanes for Tatum and Brown and White and even Holiday to get into the paint. New York was doing a really good job of cutting off those lanes, and especially the passing lanes. And it leads me right back kind of to the Porzingis thing. If we had Porzingis, we have a better body to throw in to the paint. Like, we were killing them on the pass it in the paint, one dribble, turn, bam, put it up. Like, once we didn't have that, it was like we didn't have that inside game. And Horford wasn't living in the paint. He was like, let me just hang out here at the corner, like the whole game. So there wasn't anyone for them to pass to. And I didn't feel like every time I would see them try to take a lane, somebody else would come over and block it, and then they're stepping back out. Like, there was a lot of times where I saw Tatum and Brown end up taking a three after they attempted the drive to the paint. It got blocked out, so they took 2 steps back and shot a jumper. So they need to get better at that.
Yes.
Creating spacing, and that needs to happen from them spacing each other out a little bit. That defender only had enough time to come over and cut off the lanes because, you know, the other player was so close to Tatum and Brown when they're trying to do that. So they just need to space the floor out a little bit more. And I don't know that the Knicks, we keep talking about how tired they're going to be. That's a lot of intensity. And that was really good defense they played in that half. We'll see what happens. Oh, and one last thing. I don't like the fact that the Knicks game ended in their last series, and then they got a 3-day rest for having to play a longer series, and it kept us off for over a week. That pissed me off because then we're more rusty, and they get to rest up after a hard series. I was like, fuck you, NBA. But I get it. G-Money talked me off the ledge. He's like, you know, it happens. Like, it's all part of the schedule, but still didn't like it.
G-Money, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, so you guys have touched on some of the major points. You know, they were horrendous from three-point land. They shot 20%. 20%. That's unforgivable. And Jalen, you're right. They live or die by the three. They kind of remind me of the 2015, 2016 Golden State Warriors. And Malin's right. Even though they only made 20% of their threes, they still went to overtime, and they just barely lost. So if I'm a Boston fan, I'm like, okay, we can still beat them. We are not going to have another night where we only hit 20% from three land. That's just not going to happen. What concerns me more though is that Missoula, when asked, was like, I only saw like 8 or 10 shots that weren't good shots they took, and there's no plan B. And what they have to realize is the Knicks were built to beat the Celtics. So you have to have a plan B. I mean, if they're guarding, and I can guarantee you, game 2, the Knicks going to be guarding that 3-point line. So you need to have a plan. And whether Porzingis plays or not, that's immaterial. You better be able to take that man off the dribble. And there's no reason that Tatum and Brown or even White can't do that. You know, it's just they settled for threes because it kind of, in a way, it reminds me of the 80s. So in the 80s, it was the dunk. People stopped shooting so much. They wanted to dunk. They wanted to dunk Ovi. They wanted to dunk in your face. They wanted to embarrass you. We've got to now where it's the three. That's the dagger. I'm going to hit the three. That's the dagger. You have everybody. You have big men shooting threes. I mean, it's like, hell, I'm almost waiting to see the coaches come out and start shooting threes. It's like, no, you need to have a backup plan when something like this happens. Because if they had driven, if they had tried, if they had attempted to go to the hoop, because here's the thing, you drive to the hoop, there's a high likelihood you get fouled and you're on the free throw line.
Right.
And they didn't do that.
Did you guys see the Indiana one?
No, it all of a sudden it cut to the Minnesota Golden State game.
Indiana won 121-19. They're up 2-0 against
What?
Oh, that
What?
well,
They just hit a 3 to win it.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
They just hit a 3 to win it. Indiana's up 2-0.
My God.
Wow.
Stars aligning, Jalen.
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry, G Money.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
gosh.
You were
No,
like
that's
midstream there.
that's
Shocked
that's
when I watched
okay.
that. Holy shit.
But no, Boston has to have a plan B, just in case they can't make the threes. And this has been said in the past. Tatum wasn't clutch. He was 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter from 3-point line. Hell, everybody else wasn't any better, to be honest with you. But he wants to be clutch, but he wasn't. So there's a little bit to be concerned about. But once again, you went to overtime and you lost by what? I think, was it 4-2? I mean, it was, seriously, that game could have been won. That game should have been won by Boston. They just didn't have a plan to, hey, geez, what happens if we miss 45 threes?
Yeah.
So if I'm a Boston fan, I'm like, okay, this is like catching lightning. Happens once. Normally doesn't happen twice in a row, unless you're from like the mountains of North Carolina, and then you catch out a few times. But no, I wouldn't be concerned if I was Boston. If I was a Boston fan, and if I was a Knicks fan, I wouldn't get too up about it. I would,
June, what'd you think about this?
Well, I'm gonna come at it from the Knicks standpoint. The Knicks remind me of Rocky Balboa. You know, uh, what did he do? He let Ivan Drago punch him until he got tired. You remember Rocky Four? How many times did Ivan Drago hit that man? And then all of a sudden he just got tired. He got punched drunk. That's what Boston looked like. And it looked like the Knicks said, wait a minute, they're not hitting these threes right now. And I love what the Knicks did in their comeback. They made that comeback look so subtle. Okay? Boston going out there, they're trying to put this game away. Look like they're trying to go up by 30. Nope, Knicks 5 points here, 3 points here, 4 points here, and Boston just steady missing shots. And then next thing you know, we got a tie game going into overtime. And Boston didn't even see the comeback coming. You know? And hats off to Jalen Brunson, man. That dude is a leader. This game, let me tell you something, this series is going deep. Boston is not going to come out and sweep the next 4 games. It's not about to happen. That's not going to happen. I'll tell you that now. This is going to at least 6 or 7 games. This ain't this. It's. I know y'all love Boston, but they're not winning the next 4 straight games. I guarantee you that. I guarantee. Oh my God. They're not winning the next 4 games. It's going to be a good deep series, and I'm glad. And let me tell you something. I'm glad that this happened because I want to see a good series. These are 2 top teams. You want to see this, so I know y'all don't. You want it to be over as quick as possible, but you know what? Sometimes it just happens like that. But hats off to the Knicks for making the comeback. They could have just folded. The Knicks could have just folded, and they didn't. They stuck with the game. You got to hats off to Tom Thibodeau. He stuck with the game plan. They never got out that game plan, and they won the game because of it. So we'll see what happens in the next game. I totally expect Boston to come back and rip it the next game, but this is going to be a slugfest in this series. So
Yeah, Missoula's like, all right, we got up 63s last game. Next game, I want 70. Let's go. We're ramping them up, baby.
right.
All right. So we were just mentioned it. Indiana now up 2-0. I'm trying to find the highlights of this last minute because I looking at the score with 45 seconds left. The game was over.
I saw them down 3. I left to use the restroom. I come back and they're up 120 to 119, and the game was over. I mean, honestly, like we're watching some of the best playoff basketball as far as finishes, man. Like that Celtics. I mean, that first game that Indiana beat Cleveland was crazy. That Celtics New York game going into overtime was crazy. Aaron Gordon hitting that shot.
Oh man.
Last night. I know we'll talk about it, but are you fucking kidding me? And then we get this again with Indiana going up 2-0 and going home. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, but check this out. Check it out. We said, I think a couple of us said this. Well, we might have all said it. All said that Cleveland was going to be suspect in the second round. We all said that.
I said they were going to be suspect in the playoffs. Because sometimes I was seeing them being like, and when I say that, I think of a team like the Phoenix Suns in the mid-2000s when you were racking up all these wins, you're the league in scoring, but when you have to play the same team night in, night out for 7 games, you can learn your tendencies, and they have time to plan, strategize better. Like that's when you would always see Phoenix and that Nash team kind of break down.
Mhm.
And just watching Cleveland all year, like they would lose. They were playing, I think, maybe 500 or 600 ball against like really good teams, but they were
Mm-hmm.
beating all the other teams that they should be beating. They weren't
Right.
having those slip up against the bad teams.
Right.
But then they went out and just beat the hell out of the Heat. So I was like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Cleveland is going to be that team and
Well, the
be
Heat
a
suck.
juggernaut. But Indiana's just slapping around some fucking corn. They
So speaking of slap runs, I'm seeing what happened here in the last couple of minutes. Halliburton was on the
Mm,
free throw line with like 11 seconds left. They're down 2. He
mm.
misses his last free throw. Indiana gets the rebound. He steps back out to the 3-point line, drains the clock, and hits the 3 to win the game.
Oh my
man.
God.
two walk-off buzzer beater 3-pointers.
Oh
The
my
last
gosh.
I don't
I
know
mean, and
how
these
did
are
they
two
let them
very
get that
young teams.
rebound. You like
two
what?
walk-off buzzer beaters.
Oh my
This is what
god.
happens when you have a young team, man. It's just that the ball bounces different when it's a young team. You know what I mean? Young, inexperienced team. Both of these teams are really inexperienced.
Yeah.
So to see this happening, you're not surprised to see this happening. So I mean, is anybody surprised? No, I said they were suspect. I think the same thing about the Thunder. I believe the Thunder are suspect. There's two young teams, and they're gonna have to play these veteran teams. And even though Indiana, and not a real veteran team, but it's just one of those, who's gonna be the man at the last second? Who's gonna take that shot when it counts? You know. Then
Yeah.
again, I said the same thing about the Lakers, and the same thing about the Lakers in Minnesota, and look how that turned out. So what the hell do I know? Shit.
This is true. On that same note, Denver and OKC, which I think is a fascinating series. Indiana and Cleveland
Ooh,
just got a lot more interesting. But
mm, mm,
Denver and OKC, I think, is very, very
mm.
interesting because it's the true test of veteran versus the upstart team. And I don't know, do you guys think that? I mean, obviously Denver can win, but do you legitimately think, like, are you going to change your pick, or do you still think that the Thunder has this series?
I can't change my pick. Even though I want to. Like, I spent the whole game telling Gary how much I hate that city and that team, how fucking ugly they are. And they're represented by a gas station. And I swear to God, half the people in Oklahoma City are married to their cousins. And
Half is generous.
yeah, it's just there's a reason why it's a flyover state, people. Okay. Charles Barkley does not want to go to OKC for the finals. Is all I'm saying. But when you looked at the game, they were in control the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that Oklahoma City would get within like 4 points, or like Denver would get within 4, like OKC would stretch it out to like 10 or 15, right? Like it was that constant accordion type thing. I think it was the immaturity of the moment that allowed Denver to come back and win that game, but it was also a hell of a lot of luck. Aaron Gordon hitting that 3 was a lot of luck. The biggest thing with OKC, I think it's more egregious than the Celtics missing 45 free throws. How does OKC miss that many free throws?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, at one point, Denver was fouling 2 different people on
Yep.
purpose to put him in the
Yep.
free throw line. Like, when there's 11.8 seconds left in the game and you're up by 2, I think you're up by 2, and you miss free throws and you give them an opportunity to come back at that moment, like, you gotta at least make it a 3-point game at the minimum. Like, they choked at the line in that game, but I don't see them doing that 3 more times.
Yeah.
I would have seen them doing that last year 3 more times. but they have grown more, so I still expect them to advance. But I'm hoping it's like a 7-game series because I want them tired because I don't like them.
Yeah.
I'll cut a brake line on an airplane. I don't give a shit. Like I'm going to hell and I know it. But like if the team plane crashed, like I wouldn't shed a tear. I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't wear black the next day. I'd probably wear Oklahoma City the next day. And I understand that I'm a piece of shit for saying that, and I know who I am in my heart of hearts, so I can say it. I've come to terms with it. So, but yeah, I still think they're gonna win. I don't know. I like the Joker. What did he end up with? 40 points last night.
I think it's 40, 26.
Felt like he had 15 points.
Right.
I don't know when he got 40 points. Like that's just how that game went. It didn't feel like a dominating 40 points. He just kept racking it up. But yeah, I don't know. You need Murray and Booker to play better. They need to not get into foul trouble, but it's probably going to happen. I'd love for it to go 7 games, though. I'd love for them ass cheeks of Thunder fans.
I think you're going to get your wish. I think you're going to get your wish. I think this is good. I think it's going to go 7 games. As a matter of fact, I think most of these series in this second round is going 7 games. I think I don't. Well, maybe not Indiana, Cleveland now, but G Money, who was that back in the '80s? Who there was a team who there was a playoff series where a team won the first 2 on the road, then the second team came back and the next 2 on the road. Who was that in the '80s that did that? Detroit? Was it Detroit or Boston?
You mean in the playoff? Yeah, I think so. I think because I was thinking like the NBA Finals, and I was like, was it the Lakers that they do that with the Bulls? But I think the Bulls won in 6. That was their first championship. But it's like
5.
Yeah, in 5. That's because I was in 29 Palms at the time, so this thing kind of bakes you a little bit.
That's gonna be an interesting series.
Yeah. I don't know why OKC decided to intentionally foul. That was one of those like weird coaching why? At that point, just play your normal defense. If they tie the game, that's still not the end of the world. But it's cool to see Jokic. He's coaching that team. He is like the absolute engine, not just obviously play wise, but like motivationally, maybe even strategically, because he's getting those boys up and ready to go, and he's barking. I had the pleasure of getting to see them play the other day, and he was one of the most vocal people out there. Like he is like for sure leading that team, which you didn't really see when Mike Malone was there. But I'm assuming now with the coaching change, he's like, I know that everyone's going to be looking towards me because we don't really know. I can't remember his name. Don't really know the new coach like that well. So I think it is true, like just a veteran-led team that OKC is going to struggle with for the next however long this series goes on. And I don't know. I think Denver's strategy is like we just need to keep these games close. We can't let them Memphis us and just blow us out of the water. But if the games are close, we like our chances there. So hats off to them.
So you guys know, it's only out of 463 times has a team been down 0-2 in the NBA playoffs. Only 34 times in league history has the team down 0-2 come back and won.
Wow.
7.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
7.3%. Now, oddly enough, like June, you talked about the 1980s. It only happened one time in the 80s. And that was the Golden State Warriors versus the Jazz, where a team was down 0-2. There's a lot of times. There's a lot of times it's actually happened in the last decade. The Indiana Pacers came back 0-2 against the Knicks last year. The Pacers did. The Pacers were down 0-2 and came back.
Yeah. Wow.
The
Yes, they were.
2023 Golden State against Sacramento, 2022 Dallas against Phoenix, 2021 Milwaukee against Phoenix. Like there's a lot that's happened in the last decade. Like if you just look at it between 2016 and 2024, there's probably about like a third of the
Yeah.
teams that have won it down 0-2 have come back and done it over the last decade. So that 7.3% is a little bit skewed because of history, but teams have been able to do it.
We had a ghost behind you. What the hell is that behind you? Right?
Last one that we should hit real quick, and we'll start with G Money here. Golden State and Minnesota. What do you think about this one?
Since we're watching it right now, I like this game. I mean, I think it's going to be like all the other games. I think it's going to be close. I think the series is going to be close. I mean, Golden State, it's interesting, right? Because you look at Golden State, and who's their big men? I mean, Moody, what is he, like 6'9", 6'9", maybe 6'10"? Yeah, and Minnesota has Gobert, who went off that last game in their last series, basically because there was no big man to stop him against the Lakers, where he had a career night, right? 26 points, 22 rebounds, I think. I mean, I like, but I still, you can't not like Golden State. Yeah, because I mean, you just can't not like them. And I'm watching right now. I mean, Minnesota's up by 4 right now. We'll see how this goes. But I think, like June says, I think a lot of these series are going to go at least 6 games, and a couple of them will probably go 7. I don't see one team, sweeping the other team. Even the Cleveland Indiana game, which I thought Cleveland would win game 2, and that obviously didn't happen because you didn't block out and get the rebound on a free throw. And just quickly with the OKC, this is not the first time against Denver. This is the 4th time this season against Denver where they've had a double-digit lead and they've landed up losing the lead and losing the game. So, Denver's quite comfortable being down double digits against OKC and coming back to beat them. And as far as OKC's strategy, their strategy was, if it's a minute or less and you're up by 3, you foul the other team and you put them on the line. Their problem is they fouled when they had that breakaway and they got the dunk, and they didn't there wasn't the opportunity to foul. They should not have fouled at all because there was 10 seconds left. No, 12.1 seconds I think left in the game. Let them run some clock because Jokic was on the bench. They had pulled him because they feared that he might get that extra foul and foul out. You get that 6th foul.
Right.
There was no reason at that point to foul because with him on the bench, they're about at 30. I want to say it's a 34% 3-point team. With him on the court, they're almost a 38% 3-point team because he facilitates that more. I mean, he takes them too, but he also facilitates the open player. I wouldn't have fouled. That was a bad coaching decision, but that's what they. But when asked about it, post game, I said that's our strategy. We've done that all through the regular season. It's like, but maybe you should have let some time run off before you did it if you're going to, or force them to bring the ball up and take a shot because they had no timeouts left either.
Yeah.
So the only way you get the Joker back on the court is by fouling.
You want some? You want some Patty McStats for you, Gary?
Fire away.
All right. So there has never been an instance in the second round of the NBA playoffs where all 4 road teams won game 1. You could be watching NBA history tonight of Golden State knock off the Maverick. Now, Second, it's only happened 6 times in NBA history. 3 of the 4 teams the road team is won game 1. So this is only the 6th time. 2025 is the 6th time it's ever happened in NBA history where the road team has won game 1. Like, so we're in some weird rarefied air when it comes to these playoffs. And I think that, honestly, guys, I think we're in this boat when it comes to this stuff because of injuries and load management, where you have really talented teams ending up in the 6 and 7 seed, the 5 seed, instead of the 1, 2, or 3 seed that are just as good as the 1, 2, or 3, but they were like laying low for a lot of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't winning as regular season games because they were giving people time off, or there were injuries, but they're super talented and they're all healthy right now. Like, everyone for the most part is healthy.
Yep.
And so, like, you see this game, Minnesota and Golden State, and if you just said it without watching the season, if I were to tell you at the beginning of the season who would be the higher seed, Golden State or Minnesota, you'd probably say Golden State, especially after the Jimmy Butler trade.
Right.
But Minnesota's the seed. You know what I mean? Like, so we have this kind of backflow of talented teams during these later rounds, and so it makes it really interesting. But in the Minnesota, Golden State, I think Golden State is really, Denver and Golden State is the only real shot I have for OKC not going back to the finals. And everything is about blocking OKC. It's about killing OKC, bombing OKC, napalming OKC. We could nuke OKC, and I wouldn't give a shit. I pay the money on the tariff to get the bomb. So I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, if OKC makes it to the Western Finals, I don't want to see Ant-Man in Minnesota. I want to see a team that's been there and won it, that's gone to the finals, and with another guy like Butler who's been to the finals, that got that dog in him. I want that to be the opponent that Canadian jackass SGA has to fucking go up against. And fucking, what's his name? Shawarma Caruso with his bald ass with a headband, like all these stupid lanky motherfuckers. You have all these goddamn, like, just foreign nationals in the middle of the fucking country playing basketball for a gas station. It fucking pisses me off. Like, eat a cheeseburger. So just I want Golden State there. I don't want Minnesota. So I'm betting with my heart that Golden State is going to win. I need them to win. Steph, as much as we needed you to get USA to win the gold, I need you. This is more important. This is more important. we need Olympics in this series. Please.
Speaking of important, let's get to Greg Popovich stepping down as the Spurs head coach. This seemed like it was kind of in the works. Like, it wasn't too surprising. June, what'd you think about Coach Pop stepping down after God knows how many years?
Yeah, it's been a while. Popovich, I mean, at some point, we're going to have to put him into that realm. The Phil Jackson and the Red Auerbachs and those guys in the NBA, he has to be up there because of the body of work that he did. It was that quiet, Popovich teams were just so disciplined. They wasn't flashy. They wasn't perfect. They played basketball. And that's what Popovich just taught his kids to do, just to play basketball. And they did it. And, we get a couple of Hall of Famers, Tim Duncan and but but coached it well. I mean, this was a one of those throwback ABA teams. And remember, San Antonio always had that. They would always choke in the big games. In the 80s, they had the Iceman with the perfect finger roll, but that's all they were. They could never win a game. And then all of a sudden, Pop came in. He changed the culture. He started getting them to win, started getting them to believe. This small town market team is one of the best teams that we saw over the last decade and a half. Popovich is one of my favorite coaches. Uh, of course, in Dallas, we hate San Antonio, but they still love Popovich. That's just who he is. So it's sad to see him go. And I saw the picture of saw the video of Tim Duncan and who was that? I
Probably.
forgot who it was.
Ginobili.
Okay, walking him out. He like an old man. I was like, oh man, that was sad. But it's one of those great moments that we'll never forget. So, hats out to Popovich, man. One of the gotta be. I mean, as far as NBA coaches, he's got to be. He's got top five, right? We're talking
Well,
Phil and
I
Pat
would
and Red and all of these guys.
I
He's
would
got to be
agree
top
with you on
five.
that. I definitely have him in my top 5, and it feels transitioning. Except I think that Pop's transition into team president is going to be more ceremonial because let's be honest, guys, he didn't look good. I know he just had the stroke, but he didn't look good. Like he was walking very gingerly. The El Jefe thing was hilarious. But when I think of like NBA head coaches, right? Because I was thinking about this, like I'm glad you brought up like the hierarchy, right? Like where he fits.
Yeah.
I got this is mine, okay, and I really only got 4. So if you guys have another, you let me know.
Okay.
Red Auerbach to me is number 1. Because not only did he coach the greatest dynasty that's ever happened, the greatest stretch that's ever happened in NBA history. And I know there's less teams, but he was also a coach in one of the most racist cities that crossed a racial divide and was having black players play when nobody else was. The Celtics was the first NBA team to have 5 black starting players. Bill Russell. Red Auerbach, he was the Doc Wooden of, like where he create a culture of winning. And that's what Pop did. He created a culture of winning. There's not a single head coach that's won multiple national or multiple NBA championships that didn't have talent. We always know that. They always have superstars, but there's plenty of superstars that never win a championship. It's the coaches that create the culture that allow you to win the championship. So to me, Red is number 1 because not only just how much he won, but also I gotta think about the racial things he went through with Bill Russell, the way that he spearheaded a lot of stuff, especially in the civil rights movement. I mean, so much was going on back then. Number 2, I actually go Pat Riley a little bit because I think that if you can win that many titles with the Lakers, Showtime Lakers in the 80s, with that squad, I can't imagine the distractions that Pat Riley dealt with in the 80s with the Lakers that nobody else is dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, I just think about 80s Riley, Magic Johnson, LA, James Worthy. Won that much? Like, there's a lot of cocaine involved in that Lakers 80s, and they still won that. And you know what? Like, Pat Riley brought Miami Heat to the Eastern Conference final a couple times in the 90s. Is the team president, of course, orchestrated stuff. So I kind of have him number 2 in my book a little bit, just because I think of how difficult it was in the 80s to become the coach the way he did. And then you got to say Phil Jackson because of how much he won. But he won 11 titles, I think. Was it 11 or 10?
Yep.
It was 10.
He won 11.
Now, I mean, you can say, hey, you know what? You got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Shaq and Kobe. You should be winning some titles. But he did it in two different cities, two different teams, bunch of dynamics, a lot of personalities. It's not easy to coach a Michael Jordan and a Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. In his triangle offense, created 11 championships. Yeah. But to me, Pop is number 4. And you could honestly put Phil at number 2, Pop at number 3, and Pat at number 4. I could interchange all 3 of those. But Pop did it in a way that was unassuming, in a market that nobody cared about, with a bunch of people that were unselfish. And you want to talk about it like everyone talks about Miami culture. Just do your job. Like, that was San Antonio.
Yep.
None of them players had an ego. Why did they not have an ego? It wasn't just their personality. They were always half of them came from overseas where they were the best player in their country. Tim Duncan was the best player, coming out of college. David Robinson was an MVP. They all had egos, but Pop created the culture of the sum is better than the parts. And they just quietly, unassumingly kept winning titles when no one expected them to do it. And so you want to talk about culture, basketball culture. What he had going on in San Antonio was legendary to me. And the only thing that I wish didn't happen is I wish that Kawhi Leonard didn't have people in his camp telling him he needed to go someplace else to win. Because if he'd stayed in San Antonio, I guarantee you right now, like, the Spurs would have gone to another final at some point with Kawhi Leonard. If Kawhi Leonard stayed in San Antonio, Pop would have another ring. I'm not sure that Kawhi Leonard would have more rings than what he has now because he won one in Toronto. But he would have had another one in San Antonio. It sucks that what happened with Kawhi happened, but I think San Antonio would have been, if he'd have stayed there, man, like, it would have been so much different to the end of his legacy. Because once they won that last title, they were just kind of riding the, the kind of, the wave of what they had done. That back half of his chapter to me is unfulfilling because of what happened with Kawhi. But he's up there. He's definitely in the top 5. I got him at 4, but I could easily have him at 3. I hope him all the best. I hope he enjoys.
You say you only 4. Can't think of a 5th? Can't think of a 5th?
Well, the reason why I can't think of a 5th, man, is because to me there's just like a big drop off after that.
Exactly.
Right, it is. But you know who a guy
that have won a couple. Okay. I got a 5th for you. But honestly, okay. So I've had a little bit to drink here, so you're gonna have to help me with the name, G Money. Who the fuck was the Pistons coach in the 80s?
Daly. That's what
That's who you're gonna say?
I was gonna say. Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck Daly. We want to go with Chuck Daly.
Wasn't he the coach of the Dream Team?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he would be my 5, because in the midst of in the midst of the Celtics and the Lakers and Michael Jordan coming up, he got the bad boy Pistons, the 2 championships. He got a gold in the Olympics, so he would be a number 5 for me. But there's so many coaches that have won 2 rings.
Yeah.
That, like, you just kind of get to rarefied, like, because I can't think of another coach that's won like 4 or 5 outside of the 4 that I just mentioned. I know that the Celtics haven't had another coach that have done it because they were trading them out. I think the Celtics only won 3 in the 80s. I I can't even remember his goddamn name, and I feel like a jackass because I can't. Damn it, I
Casey
literally
Jones.
just watched Celtic story too. But I know the Celtics
Casey
coach
Jones.
3. But there's a lot of coaches that have won 2 or 3. But those 4 have been better than everybody else. So
I'm gonna throw out a
Curry
name
at some
here,
point, right?
and I know it's kind of recency bias, but I think when it's all said and done,
Steve Kerr.
Steve
God
Kerr,
damn it, Steve
yeah.
Kerr. Steve Kerr. Jesus
Yeah, that's
Christ.
what I was gonna. That would have
The
been my
moment
5th. Would be
That
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, because he's won what, 4?
3.
Or
3. He's won 3.
3.
He's won
Okay.
3. Yeah.
And when you put
Went to
into
the finals
account
like 5 times.
yeah, and you
I
know
thought
what?
it was 4. Didn't he have?
And he got an
I'm
Olympic
pretty sure it's
gold.
5.
And he went to an Olympic gold.
Who's the four? You want 4?
Yeah, no,
without-
they only lost. No,
2 without Durant, 2 with.
they only lost 1 time. So then they've won 3, so they've been 4. But
Okay.
he's won 3.
Somebody thought that
He's won 3. He's got an Olympic gold. Yeah, your girlfriend's out there, isn't she, Jalen?
She's just standing at the door.
You're just looking at. Tell her I said hi. Yeah, see, Steve Kerr is an easy number 5 to me. I think Steve Kerr is above Chuck Daly, to be honest with you, because there was a lot of talent in Golden State before he got there, and he put it all together, and he's created a culture in Golden State that is sustained with those people. Again, all these coaches are nothing without the talent,
Right.
but they create the culture inside the building. It allows people to win. There's a reason why Kevin Durant hasn't won anywhere else that he's played at.
Yep.
There's a reason for that. You know what I mean? There's a reason why Westbrook and Harden haven't won championships. Is because they don't have these types of coaches. So yeah, Steve Kerr. God, I am a dumb son of a bitch that I didn't even think of Steve Kerr. I said all that and I didn't say Steve Kerr.
I mean, it's recent.
and we're watching the game. I mean,
Yeah, we're literally watching
Can you hear
him
me?
coach, and I didn't say it.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Sometimes
Okay.
I can't. Sometimes I can't.
I was
Right now I can't. You're breaking
yeah.
up.
Oh,
You're cutting
Yeah,
in
you're
and
like
out.
R2D2. C3PO.
oh, what happens?
are you really back in the States, or are you coming live to us from London, and we're losing the signal?
We getting June from the space station.
All right, let's
Got little going on.
real quick. Let's hit the Justin Tucker thing. G Money, I want to start with you here. What are your thoughts on the Ravens cutting JT?
I love it. It
Yeah,
needed to happen.
well, that was going to happen, wasn't it? I mean, I understand that Cleveland's signing him, and that he and Deshaun are going to compare notes. And I mean, see if they've got any crossovers there.
About massage parlors. They don't give a shit. Cleveland's about to open massage parlors for him.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's like, yeah, so we don't care. Can he kick? Because our kicker couldn't. But no, I mean, it's pretty sure that it was already written. And it's interesting that when they cut him, they said that this was strictly a football decision. You didn't have to say that.
No.
You just cut him. I mean, because then everybody knew at that point, no, man, it's because you were getting happy endings.
And we all agree, though, that if he didn't have a bad year last year, he would still be the kicker.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he had a terrible year last year. Like, not even just bad for himself, but a bad year. Like, clearly hit a wall. And I don't know what Cleveland's thinking they're going to get. But if you get a kicker with baggage in his head, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
But he clearly had a downturn. But if he was Justin Tucker of 2022, he would still be the kicker.
Yeah.
Because there's no evidence of him smacking his wife in an elevator and dragging her out like Ray Rice. Because Baltimore is very comfortable keeping you until there's video evidence. So let's not act like Baltimore's doing this virtuous thing.
Right.
They were very much behind Ray Rice until there was video of him dragging his wife out of an elevator by her fucking ankles, and then they had to cut him. So if Tucker was nailing 50-yarders like normal last year, he'd still be the kicker. But I think he was dead last.
Damn.
In 50-yard attempts last year.
Damn.
He had a significant, and that was his bread and butter. 50 plus. Tucker was going to get you points. And that didn't happen last year. So yeah, you have a bad year, and then all this comes out, you're gone. So yeah, but if he could still kick, he'd still be a Raven.
I don't know. I think even at this point, because of all the bad press they got with Ray Rice and then the video, and everything that happened with Deshaun Watson, I think at this point, if he was 50 yards, I think they'd still cut him because we don't need the baggage. We don't need that. And the owner probably would do that.
Then why didn't they cut him when it all came out? They waited till after the draft and they drafted somebody. I mean, they waited until this has been going on for months.
Yeah.
And they waited until after the draft and they drafted somebody that they cut him. Like, if they really were going to stand on principle about it, don't you think they would have cut him when all of this stuff was happening? But there's been a little bit of time between these allegations and them letting him go. They waited until they got a replacement.
Well, my guess would be that they've actually done some investigations and maybe found some of these allegations to be somewhat factual. And if that's the case, then we're just going to let you go. We're just going to let you go.
It still looks bad to me that they did it after they drafted a replacement. Like, when you use a draft pick on a kicker and then you release him, like if they didn't draft a kicker during the draft and then they released him now, I'd be like, all right. But like, they waited until they had a backup.
Right. It was pretty clear. Pretty clear on what they were doing.
We just want to make sure we can still hit some field goals because we're paying a lot of money to Lamar Jackson, and he ain't scoring touchdowns all the time. You gotta get some points.
All right, let's hit the last segment here. Ride or Die in 5. Last week, we all outside of G Money, we all went 2-3, and G Money went 4-1. He had himself a great week, I gotta say, and things are getting a bit interesting at the top of the leaderboard here. So, I am plus 66. Malin is plus 62. G Money is plus 58. And then Nestor is plus 34. He's still comfortably bringing up the rear.
You have to have a dumb one all the time. You always have to have one on the spectrum.
Right.
Always a runt of the litter.
Well, that way, if we grade on a curve, the curve looks better.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's get started with the first game, which is tomorrow night, game 2 of the Knicks and Celtics. Let's start with G Money. Who is winning this one?
Boston. And if they don't, I don't know if I can talk Malin off the ledge. I mean, pretty sure that there'll be some damage. There'll be some chugging out of a bottle. There'll be some crying. Hopefully there won't be a TV broken, but can't guarantee that. But
won't break a TV.
Says that now because it hasn't happened. But
I have lived through the Celtics losing the finals, the Seahawks losing a Super Bowl. I'm not breaking a TV over sports. I'll chug a bottle. There'll be a bottle to mouth. There will be some drinking happening if that were to happen.
But yeah, I'm going Boston.
I'm gonna go Boston as well. I'm just gonna say last night was a fluke. That's all it was. A historic fluke. So we're better than the Knicks. We should win this game. Go to New York, tied. Malin.
Yeah. I mean, unless you like don't have your rent money and you just like need to throw a Hail Mary out there, then maybe you put some money on the Knicks. And then buy a sleeping bag with the money you have left over because you're going to lose and you're going to be out of a home. Because I'm going Celtics. We're going to go back tied. And we play well in the Garden.
Yep.
So I expect us to be up 3-1 going back to the Garden. I don't know if we'll win that game in the Garden, but I expect us to be up 3-1. So I'm taking Boston. I love that Golden State's up 38-28 right now with 2:47 left.
Means nothing.
Great. I know. Well, I know it means nothing because of what we've seen, but I love the position they're in. At least they're not chasing Minnesota right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm going Boston. And if I pick the same team that Gary picks, he can't catch me.
There you go. Control the clock.
There you go.
You got to be calculated on these things. I miss the days. I remember a day when I was plus 88. That was a year ago. I was plus 88.
Once upon a time, yes.
Yeah, it's been a rough year. It's been a rough year, and my bank account feels it. By the way, bank account feels it.
All right, next game we've got later that night, Nuggets at Thunder. I'll go first on this one. I have to take the Thunder. I really want to take the Nuggets, and something is like, take that. I just can't see the Thunder shitting the bed 2 games in a row, and I can't see the Nuggets playing this well 2 games in a row. I mean, the Joker can do this twice. He can do this the whole series, to be honest. But, like, do I really trust for Aaron Gordon to play as well as he did down the stretch and for pretty much everything to go right in their way and everything to go wrong for the Thunder? Not 2 consecutive games. Game 3, maybe a different story. But give me the Thunder at home to tie this thing up and kind of get things back balanced. Malin.
This is the hardest game for me because there's an analytical side and then there's like a gut feeling side. And I have a lot of emotion with OKC. I'm not going to go into it again, but we all know disdain for them. I feel like Denver can do it. But I don't think that OKC is going to allow it to happen 2 times in a row on their home court.
Yeah.
It's almost like a toss-up. Like, in my mind, I have like an angel and a demon on a shoulder, and both of them are telling me to say something different. You know what I mean? Like those old Tom and Jerry cartoons, Gary. And I'm gonna go with OKC. I'm going to go with OKC because in the playoffs, like, talent prevails, and I do believe they have more talent. I don't think they're going to allow Denver to be as close in the fourth quarter as they were last time. I think they're going to learn from their mistake. I think they're going to be heavily motivated. It is a proud team. They don't want to be embarrassed. So I think that OKC is going to win this game. But if I'm wrong, I'll be more happy than if I'm right.
That's fair.
So
that's T.
I'm picking analytically here. If G Money picks
G Money, please.
Denver, I'm changing my bet.
Well, it's funny that you would talk about you're hoping OKC learns a lesson. They didn't learn it The first time they had a double-digit lead and lost, they didn't learn it the second time. They didn't learn it the third time. They sure as hell didn't learn it last time. My question is Aaron Gordon gonna win 3 games in a row in the last second? Against the Clippers, that last second dunk won it.
Yeah.
Last second three-point shot won it. Is he gonna do that again? I don't think so. And it will be a closer game.
Because you and I were talking, I was like, that's going to be a highlight of his life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he gets a 3 in game 1 the next game.
Yeah. I mean, there's Mr. Clutch for you. There's Mr. Clutch, right? But no, I actually think OKC wins this game. I think it's a close game, but I think they do win this going back to Denver, being tied at 1.
All right. Next game, Thursday night, we have game 2 of this series, T-Wolves and the Warriors. Malin, what do you like here?
I like the Warriors in game 2 because I know they're going to win one of these 2. It's hard to say who's in control of a game when you're watching one live, right? Like we're picking game 2 while we're watching game 1. It's a little bit unfair. But I'm watching when I'm watching this game, I see Golden State executing and being calm, and I see Minnesota being a little bit erratic. And I think that if Golden State wins this game, especially if Golden State's going to win one of these games in Minnesota. But if they win this one, I think it's going to rattle Minnesota a little bit. And so I'm just looking at it like Butler's looking better. Draymond Green, he's not going to get, a technical and have to miss a game yet. I hope not. I don't know if you guys have been on the flagrant watch for Draymond Green, but he's close to missing a game right now in the playoffs, like he was the year that they won 73 games. I think it's 3 flagrant fouls and he misses a game, 2 flagrant ones or 1 flagrant 2 or whatever. I don't know how the way they do it. But he's close to missing a game, but it's not going to be game 2. So I'm going to go and take Golden State. I really need Olympic Steph Curry to come in here. Don't do this 20-point bullshit. Come in there with 40 points. Draymond Green, kill somebody if you want to. Don't be Ant-Man. We need a face to see, but you can hurt a Gobert. I don't give a shit about him. So, hey, Gobert was responsible for the NBA being shut down during COVID. Y'all remember that, right?
Yeah.
Fucking licking his hand and wiping microphones and shit. Like, and then he was the first NBA player to have COVID. You fucking dumbass. Like, just eat a dick. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take
That's how he got COVID.
Shit. There we go.
Go ahead, G Money.
All right, Golden State. In Golden State. I'm worried about what G Money's going to say.
Okay, I actually think Golden State's going to win this game, which would then be the first time that the away teams have all won the first game on the road in the playoffs. And I have
game 2.
Game 1, yeah. I have Minnesota winning game 2. I doubted them against the Lakers at times. I thought, they can't do this. You got Doncic, they've got LeBron, they've got Aaron. They've got shooters, they got scorers, and they fucking shut him down. And I see the same thing happening in game 2. If Golden State wins this game, which I think they will, then I don't see them winning game 2. I see them going back to Golden State, tied at 1.
Well, I, for one, hope you're wrong.
I gotta agree. I gotta agree. I think I'm assuming that Golden State is going to hold on to end up winning this one. I understand the
Okay, but why are
13
you guys assuming that they're going to hold a 10-point lead when nobody else held a 10 or 20-point lead in game one? Why are we
Because it's
assuming
Golden
that?
State. Because it's Golden State.
Golden State's better than
Yes.
Boston? They're better than OKC?
Definitely better than OKC. OKC holding a lead. Oh, definitely better than OKC holding a lead. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
I
Most
don't
definitely.
necessarily think. I think
We've
Minnesota
seen
will make a
all
run.
three other teams. We've seen all three other teams be up 10 to 20 points in game one
Mm-hmm.
and lose. Like, the only aberration on game one on the road is the fact that the road team is up by this much this
Right.
early. Like,
Right.
it's actually a different script.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm.
But I
I'm liking-
digress. You guys tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'll be glad when I'm right. Hopefully, I'm right. I don't need G Money creeping up on me
All right.
with 3.
Let's go Friday nights. Cleveland and Indiana, game 3. This one is in Indiana. G Money.
This is a must-win for Cleveland. If they do not win this game, they are definitely not winning the series. They're not going to run off 4 games in a row. That's just not going to happen. I'm sure Malin can tell me how many teams have come back from 0-3 in the playoffs. I think it's like probably 0, but I'm going Cleveland. Yeah, this is a must-win. You have to win it, and if you don't, just fucking make your plans for the Caribbean, because nobody stays in Cleveland, nobody lives in Cleveland.
Well, is Barkley would say, if you go down 0-3 and you lose, and you're Cleveland, you're number 1 seed, you need to go to Galveston. You don't get to go to the Caribbean. You need to go to Galveston with that dirty ass fucking water. They got down there in Galveston, Texas. I love how much hate he has for the state of Texas, even though he played for Houston.
Probably what fuels that hate.
I'm going to agree with G Money. This is just an absolute must win. And as I would love to be wrong on this. God, I would love for Indiana to be up 3-0 and then be skipping on into the Eastern Conference Finals like they did last year. So I'm going to take the Cavs, but I would like to be wrong. Maitland.
Okay. So, first of all, G Money, there's never been a team in NBA history that's come back from 3-0. It's never happened in the history of the game. So when you talk about must win, you are talking about legitimately, like, you need to win this game to even have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one's ever done it. In playoff history, Game 5, Game 7, doesn't matter the round, doesn't matter whether or not it's the finals. No one's ever done it. Here's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and agree with you guys on Cleveland winning. It's the time in which they play next. Because if I remember correctly, they play Friday, right?
Yep.
So they're taking 2 days off. Well, they're taking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off and playing Friday. That gives Cleveland the opportunity to reset. You know what I mean? Like, if they were playing tomorrow, like on a Wednesday, I think there's a lot of emotion still there, and you walk onto that court in the beginning of the game with the emotion that we just like we're down, right?
Yeah.
So there's an extra day where you can kind of compartmentalize. I want Indiana to win. I want to pick Indiana, but because I put money on every pick that I make, I can't go with my heart. I have to compartmentalize like where I'm playing money with my heart versus my brain. Cleveland's not getting swept. Cleveland's not going to go out in a gentleman's series, you know what I mean? Like a 5-game. This is still going to be a 6-gamer, even if Indiana wins. Which again, 7.3%. He's only ever done it, so it's going to be really hard for him. But your money should be on Cleveland to win Game 3. I would love for them to lose Game 3, but I like money more than I like betting with my heart. So,
all right. Last game here. We've got the Thunder and Nuggets Game 3. This is the first game back in Denver. Again, this is kind of one of those weird ones that's hard to pick because we are going off of the last pick that we just made. But I'm going to go first here. I'm going to say the Nuggets win this one back at home. And I have a feeling that they are going to basically string the Thunder along and force them to win 2 games in a row at some point in order to get over this hump. So, yeah, this is just obviously completely just going for it, future tripping here. But I'm going to take the Nuggets at home. Malin.
Well, no matter if Denver wins Game 2 or not, which we don't think they will, Denver's good for 1 at home in this series. And so if you're going to ask me to future bet a game before another bet is played, I'm going to go ahead and go Denver on this one. Just because coming back with the series tied.
Yeah.
When you have you're guaranteed to come back with the series tied. Home court advantage is yours now. If you can keep it. I think that crowd is going to be raucous. What else do they have to do in Colorado besides smoke weed? Like what? Go walk a hill or a mountain with a bicycle? Man. Watch some fucking basketball. There's not a whole lot to do in Colorado, man. You just look up at the sky. So yeah, like I think that the crowd is going to be there. I think it's going to be a tough environment for OKC. Regardless if they win Game 2 or not. The only way that would make it, and this is what makes it tough. This is what makes it tough, Jalen. If like OKC comes out and blows Denver out by 40, then our pick for this game looks really stupid. If we're picking Denver. Like, that's what makes it hard. Like, we're picking a game ahead. But with the information we have, I'm going to go with Denver. But you're kind of an asshole for this. That's fine.
Go ahead, G-Money.
I'm going to make it easy because I got to go to the restroom. I'm going Denver.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
That's fair.
That is. Now we're just looking at that's a nice couch. Yeah.
All right.
So, man, hey, you know what? I appreciate the fact that I get to watch. I am literally right now, Jalen, watching a California sunset behind you. If you look behind those trees, man, the sun is right in that little nook. Hey, look over your right shoulder.
Yeah, it's easier to see on the camera.
Right in that little nook of those trees. That is fucking amazing. That I'm able to watch a California sunset when it's been dark over here on the East Coast for so fucking long. Like, that is perfect. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. I will say. All right, let's bring this thing in for a close here, folks.
There you go.
Yeah, we will talk to you all next week, back at our kind of normal time on Wednesday night. With that being said, obviously June was having technical issues and never was able to rejoin. So
yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've done a Wednesday show. You said in the beginning of the episode that it was a Wednesday, but it's actually a Tuesday. You had me confused.
Yeah, it's
You had
just
me
force of habit.
questioning.
All right, folks.
But no, man. Yeah, everybody have a good one.
Yes, we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
All
Dude, that is really
right.
awesome.